Everyone knows that CC stands for cubic centimeters, but they don't know that it can also mean careless and attentive. These character traits destroyed my marriage. The careless contribution to the disaster was made by my neighbor's dog. He decided to shit on my doormat, which was about the same shade of brown. I would have noticed this if I had been looking at my feet and the mat, but I didn't. The mindful part came out when I felt something soft under my foot, looked down and saw this nasty thing. I also smelled it. Instead of bringing fresh dog poop onto our carpet, I took off my shoes and left them outside. A good husband, isn't he? Fully aware of the responsibilities and obligations of the spouse, yes? My wife's car wasn't in the driveway, and I would have been surprised if it was. I called her earlier and told her I was busy with a client, and she said she would use the time to get some things done. That, and the fact that her car wasn't in the driveway, meant I didn't make my usual stupid joke. My wife's name is Lucille. If you've ever watched reruns of the old sitcom I Love Lucy, you'll remember that her husband used to shout out, "Lucy, I'm home," to announce his arrival. I know I don't have the most subtle sense of humor, but I thought it was funny to use this phrase to announce my arrival home. Since I didn't think she was home, I didn't say it. This created the conditions for the subsequent disaster. I walked on the carpet in my socks. I wasn't trying to be quiet. My feet just don't make much noise in socks. I headed straight to the bedroom to put on my slippers. Was attentive again. Even with those inserts that are supposed to prevent foot odor, they still don't feel very fresh after a long day of work. Her carpets were always clean, but my feet could be smelly. It's called being mindful, right? I think you can already guess what will happen next, right? They're cliches, but they're cliches because they happen so often. I walked into the bedroom, and there on my bed was a man sleeping with my wife. It's funny what you notice when you're caught off guard. I didn't stand there long, maybe 5 seconds, but I could have stood there much longer without noticing the trio. They were busy with other things. They didn't even notice when I pulled out my cell phone and took a couple quick pictures. Cell phones must be a headache for divorce lawyers and private investigators. There is no need to spend money on a private investigator. Just take out your phone, click, and you have proof. It will also prevent your lawyer from charging you a bunch of extra hours while everyone sorts out the he said, she said. Luckily, I had a prenuptial agreement, which would have made financial negotiations easier. Luck was on both sides of the coin. Good luck that I had a phone and a marriage contract when I needed them, and bad luck that I needed them at all. While I was in evidence-gathering mode, I grabbed one lover's pants off the floor and walked back into the living room. Now I knew who both guys were. Some people would say I should have grabbed both guys and beat them up. Why should I do this? I no longer cared who slept with my soon-to-be ex-wife, and I had better ways to deal with these bastards. One guy was easy to deal with. I know Janet's character. Janet is Bud Miller's wife. If I had beaten him up, I would probably have spent time in a gray hotel, the county jail, if you're not used to that idiom. I decided to let Janet handle the beating because she not only knew how to do it, but she could get away with it. You see, jealous husbands go to jail if they beat someone because it will be considered assault. It is not illegal to sleep with another man's wife, despite the fact that some men wish it were illegal. It's technically illegal for an angry wife to beat her husband, but they rarely went to jail for it. This is exactly what Janet did with her first husband. Bud should have paid more attention to the details of his wife's first marriage. Perhaps I could achieve the same effect in a different way. For this, I needed information, which is why I grabbed my pants. Surprise, surprise. The second was named Clarence Walter Worthington Roman III. He was my wife's boss at work. I met him, I just didn't recognize him because I saw him. His name sounds like money, but it's just a sound. The money in their family belonged to his wife, she owned the business, and he was just a manager. He was especially stupid because I knew that she also had a prenuptial agreement. I don't discuss prenuptial agreements with people, but I met her one day in my lawyer's office, and we started talking. It just so happened that Beverly was making changes to her prenup around the same time that I was making changes to mine. We noted the coincidence that we were both there for the same reason. There were some minor changes to the relevant state laws, and our attorney believed in thoroughness, so we had back-to-back appointments. I have no idea why Clarence slept with my wife. She's attractive, sure, but in a girl-next-door kind of way. Beverly was a true goddess. Long legs, a beautiful butt, a slender waist, perky breasts, and a pretty face. She had it all. Claire was an idiot. He was an annoying little jerk, and I took an immediate dislike to him. I shortened his name and started calling him Claire because it sounded like a girl's name, Claire, and he hated it. I kept forgetting that he didn't like it. Either way, if she had a prenuptial agreement, chances are she was going to enforce it. I'll have to look at that photo again and see if Beverly can recognize him. Damn, I forgot to take into account the mirror above the bed. His face was clearly visible in the reflection. It was better than two birds with one stone. It was two idiots with one click. Why did I need to stoop to violence? My future ex-wife will end up on the street with almost nothing, and the same will happen to her lovers. Maybe they'll all end up in the same homeless shelter and have sex there. Okay, I admit it. I can be vindictive when I feel betrayed. If Lucy had been civil and sophisticated and came to me saying, "I've met someone and wanted to sort out my feelings for him," I wouldn't be vindictive. I would want a divorce and be unhappy, but I wouldn't be vindictive. Why try to keep someone who doesn't want you anymore? The way my soon-to-be ex-wife decided to tell me this was not civilized or sophisticated, it was rude and vulgar. I was offended, and I wanted them to understand it. I just remembered I forgot to introduce myself. You know all the main players in this little drama, except myself. I'm John Christian Folberg, better known as simply JC. I was named that because my father was a science fiction fan, and there was a book from the 70s called West of Honor that he liked. The main character's name in this book and subsequent sequels was John Christian Falkenberg, and due to the similarity of our last names and the fact that my father liked the character, I was named after him. When I was a child, I didn't like the name, so I got the nickname. As I got older and read the book, I began to like the name, but it was too late to get rid of the nickname. John Christian Falkenberg was a smart, honest, and resourceful man who fought bad guys. Not a bad role model. So let's get back to action. Janet should definitely be the next step. She was right next door, so why not start immediately? I put on the sneakers that I kept in the hallway, left my jacket and tie and went to the neighbors to start World War III. Hi, Janet. Could you come over to my place and take a look at some things? I really need a second point of view. She smiled and said, "Of course, handsome. I will do whatever you want for you. Now. If you don't mind, it's quite urgent." Then now is the time. Let's go to. Be careful not to step in the dog shit on the doormat or the dirt in the bedroom, okay? That was the closest thing I could tell her to prepare her for the shock. She was strong enough to handle it, and I wanted her anger to rage unchecked. And so it happened. "You bastard, you vile, vile, vile asshole. Get your dirty ass out of this bed. Damn, crap, rubbish. JC, you don't have a bucket of very cold water for us to throw on them, do you? I don't think my fucking garden hose can reach my asshole husband." I said that she had character. I just forgot to mention her knowledge of English. Pretty impressive for an impromptu performance. No wonder the bedroom was empty so quickly. When they reached the front door, the second act of the comedy Dirty, Stupid, and Dumb began. Did I forget to mention that the pile of dog shit on the rug was big? Well, she was. This neighbor's dog was a Great Dane, and he must have eaten at least 10 to 20 pounds of food today. Dirty, Lucy, was out the door first, slipped on a soft pile, fell on her butt, and received a generous helping of coverage. Stupid, in other words Bud, was walking right behind her, so he tripped over her and also got his share. Dumb, in other words Claire, saw an obstacle at the door, but decided that he could jump over it. With his flabby ass and beer belly, he was so out of shape that his movements were more like stomping or wobbling than running. Anyway, he joined the other two and made them a trio of assholes. They weren't particularly good at getting to their feet. Every time someone got halfway up, they either slipped or tripped over the other two. I stood and watched when Janet came up behind me. Wow. I already thought my idiot was pathetic, but he has reached a new low. He needs a hose to clean himself more than a bucket of water. Yours too. I don't care about the fat guy, but we're temporarily married to the other two clowns. You're going to divorce your clown, aren't you? I'll get rid of mine, but not before torturing it a little. Let him think he still has a chance before I strike. Oh, this is the end, and the divorce will come as soon as I file the papers. I won't torture her. I'll offer to wash the worst of the dog shit off her so she can get in and get dressed before she will clean up from my house. Prenuptial agreements are good things. Do you have one, or are you going to have to fight for a divorce? Oh, I have it. I learned from my mistakes. Apparently not enough to choose the best option this time, but enough to protect yourself. Damn, I'm going to have to get a lawyer. The one I used previously had retired and was a solo practitioner. Do you have any recommendations? I have a boyfriend, the one who made my marriage contract. If he is not accepting new clients, he may recommend someone. I don't mind sharing it if he can accept you and you don't mind. My lawyer uses pictures if my clown gets stubborn, and you can too. It will be easier if we use the same lawyer. It's not a bad idea. I forgot to take photos. I was a little overwhelmed, you know. Sorry about that. It's my fault. I thought you should see everything for yourself. I didn't want to cause you any more pain than would be natural if your spouse cheated. It was actually a good solution to take the band-aid off in one push and get it over with, rather than taking it slow and suffering longer. Fast and sharp is better than slow. Should we or should we not offer the house? We have to, at least for our own assholes. Clark can get home by himself and mess up his own seats. Janet giggled. Claire? His name is Claire? Like in the song where the man named his son Sue? Actually, his name is Clarence Walter Worthington Roman III. I just shortened it to Clar because I don't like the little bastard and enjoy teasing him. He's Lucy's boss. About big money claim, deep pockets, and a big settlement. No, there is money, but it belongs to his wife. She's a good woman. I don't want to try to take her money. She didn't do anything wrong to me. She's just another victim of a cheating spouse. Are you going to warn her? I mean, it might be painful, but she deserves to know. I think if she doesn't know, she's ready for it. The same lawyer who does my prenuptial agreement also does hers. I saw Clara at office parties. He's the type who flirts openly in social situations, but doesn't cross the line. I think Beverly knows that either he has already crossed the line in a private setting and hasn't gotten caught yet, or he will in the future. You will like her. She is almost as beautiful as you. You know, I will be very upset if I find out that she looks average. If I'm just a little better than her, I want her to be a damn supermodel. I would say she looks like Kate Upton, only in her late 20s and early 30s instead of her mid-20s. Is this good enough? It's nice. You're a great flirt, sir. I must warn you, I am in a very vulnerable position right now. I don't flirt with married women unless they've announced they're getting divorced. Even then, I don't ask them for a date until my divorce is finalized, even when it comes to really hot red-headed women. Okay, then we definitely need one lawyer. I want to be updated as soon as your divorce is finalized. Do you really love redheads? I also have freckles. Some people don't like them. There is a technical term for these people, and that term is idiot. Freckles are just a pinch of extra seasoning and not something to dislike. There should be a warning sign in that language. You can talk to a girl until she takes off her underwear herself. We need a sign, but only for what happens after I persuaded her to take off her underwear. That's when I become the most dangerous. Damn, you really know how to flirt. I didn't know this. You always ignored my attempts at flirting. This is because flirting by a married man with a woman is usually considered serious, while flirting by a married woman is considered just flirting. It's a little biased, but that's what most people think. That's why I never flirted with you. As soon as you mentioned that you were going to get a divorce like me, I decided that I could relax from my previous position. If it bothers you, I can stop. It doesn't bother me at all, and don't you dare stop. I like it. Damn, I just realized something. The third asshole, the one we weren't going to wash, we need to wash the crap off him too. He doesn't own the Cadillac, Beverly does. It wouldn't be fair to do anything that would stain her seats. She didn't do anything to us. It was all the bastard's idea. You are a kind person. I agree, he deserves a hose too. Can I wash my fool? I don't suffer from kindness, and I know exactly where I want to direct the cold water. I would also like to wash a woman of easy virtue, if you don't mind, like personal retribution. You can. Do not be shy. You just need to watch the terminology. A woman of easy virtue has sex for money and has some standards. Not many, but a few. When you talk about my soon-to-be ex-wife, you're talking about a person with no morals, no standards, no class. The proper term for such a person is cheap. If you want to be polite, you can just say cheap. It's not as precise, but it's considered more polite. Okay, point accepted. Can I wash your cheap eye? Yes, you can. You can use the hose on all three of them. I need to call Beverly and let her know what's in store for her. She might want to lay down newspapers so he can drip. I can get her email and send her copies of the photos. I envy them. You collected phone numbers of hot blondes without even flirting with me. I'm guessing she's blonde, like the gorgeous Miss Upton. She is like that, and I did not collect her number for any nefarious purposes. I have her number because Beverly called me about a charity she works with, and I donated to it. My phone numbers are on her mailing list. I missed her call, she left a message, and I called back. That's all. Just kidding. If you weren't flirting with me before your marriage fell apart, I can trust you. By the way, you said that woman of easy virtue is the wrong term for her, but you used the term asshole. May I suggest that this is acceptable? Of course, asshole, shit, or any variation of these words. I mostly use asshole, but I use moron when I'm really angry. It is not gender specific, so can be used for both men and women. I heard it's short for fucking bastard. It's a relatively new word, but it's gaining popularity. She grinned and took the hose. Okay, assholes, stop playing crap and get in line. Once I've cleaned you all up, you can go home. Bad asshole goes to me, Lucy asshole goes to JC, and Clar the asshole goes to Beverly. What happens next depends on how well you crawl on your knees and how much you pissed off your spouses. Do you understand? All three of them managed to get to their feet and were probably looking forward to having the crap washed off them, so they all nodded. This wasn't enough for Janet. She brought her hand to her ear and channeled her inner Marine instruction. I can't hear you, assholes. Say it like you mean it. I laughed to myself as I walked back into the house. I went to my office and informed my lawyer on the first call, and then pulled up my list of addresses and phone numbers on the computer and made a second call. I decided to try their home number first, and then use her mobile number if that didn't work. Hello, Worthington residence. How can I help? I would like to speak to Mrs. Wren Worthington, if possible. This is John Folberg. I have worked with her on some charity projects, but this is a personal matter of great importance. Of course, sir. Please wait while I see if Mrs. Wren Worthington is available. I waited, and less than a minute passed before I heard her voice. JC, great to hear from you. You are a very mischievous boy, you know. I thought we were friends, but you said your legal name instead of your nickname. Anyway, I forgive you. How can I help you? It's awkward, but I think it's better to say it straight. I returned home to find Clarence and another man in bed with my wife. I felt like I should call you and let you know about this. I would feel wrong if I remained silent, as if I were approving of his cheating. I thought you might want to know. There was a little silence, but I was in no hurry. She must have just been taking a few deep breaths because she was soon back on the line. JC, thanks for letting me know. I was sure that he was cheating on me, but I had no proof. You need proof to invoke the infidelity clause in a prenuptial agreement and, damn, I don't have to explain this to you, the same lawyer drafted prenuptial agreements for both of us. Will you be able to testify at the hearing about what you saw and heard? I don't want the little slug to get out of this. Better than this, we have two witnesses, me and the other guy's wife. In addition, I have photographs. Maybe the case won't even come to a hearing. Janet, this is the other guy's wife, and I'm sending Clarence home after we clean him up a little. He had a little accident. He was running away from my house and tripped over something left by the neighbor's dog. Right now it's a little smelly. I don't mind if he gets dirty in your car, but I thought you might, so we chose him down with a garden hose to wash off the crap. I mean poop. I appreciate the call, the photos, and the attention to the interior of my car. But you can relax, I've heard the word shit before. I myself have said it more than once. With a husband like mine, this is inevitable. I assume you will contact our lawyer about this matter. It's right. I'll meet him on Monday morning. Since we both have prenuptial agreements, Janet and I will split the meeting as he said he would tell us the same things and then file the same paperwork. May I ask to join your meeting? I will pay any additional costs associated with the third party. It's not a problem. Since we use the same lawyer, I took the liberty of suggesting that you might come too. On Monday, in his office, at 10 in the morning. Janet and I are planning on stopping by for coffee. Can we grab some for you? Thank you. If it's not too much trouble, double espresso, light and sweet. I forgot that his coffee is so bad. First you save my money by getting proof of the little bastard's betrayal, and now you save my taste buds. What next? Will you save me from drowning? She laughed at the end of the sentence. I used to have a strict policy of not flirting with married women. I didn't do that. Now the situation has changed, and I think it is possible to flirt with women if they are single. I make an exception for beautiful married women who have said they are seeking a divorce. I will be more than happy to serve as your savior when you are swimming, especially if you are wearing a bikini. If you need artificial respiration, I won't let you down. Beverly started laughing. You are dangerous. I started a light flirtation, and you upped the ante. I've always loved to flirt. It's just that men who flirt with married women seem a little strange. You're not really married, really. You're getting a divorce. I guess I'll have to make an exception, too. Just flirting. That's pretty much what I told Janet and what we agreed to. Everything will remain at the flirting level until our divorces are finalized. Preliminary or final ruling. Sorry, I don't know the difference between them. Until today, I had not planned a divorce. I I just didn't want to give the little bastard a lot of my money and put up with his bullshit in court. There are two different types of divorce decree. A preliminary ruling can be obtained at any time after filing an application. You get a judge, he hears your side. If he agrees that you have a case and the financial matters are settled as stated in the prenuptial agreement, he can issue a preliminary decree of divorce. It is essentially the same as a final order, except that if the other party challenges the first judge's decision within 60 days, additional hearings will have to be held to resolve the issues. This is a divorce without waiting for everything to be resolved. You just have to have a plan that the judge has approved. The only thing you can't do with a preliminary decree of divorce is get married again. This requires a final ruling. For people like you and me, with ironclad prenuptial agreements and no children, judges are quick to approve prenuptials. How fast is fast? This is just a guess, but if you start paperwork on Monday, they will be ready for filing on Wednesday. If your wife does not hide from the bailiff, she will be served with documents on Thursday. You file on Friday, meet with the judge early next week, and you'll have a preliminary ruling no later than Friday of that week. Everything goes even faster if you have money or influence. I have money, but no influence. How much money do you need to speed up the process? But you have a friend with influence, that is me. In your case, we meet with the lawyer at 10. If they try, they can file before the end of the day. I can arrange for the documents to be served no later than Tuesday afternoon if your wife does not evade service. I call my judge friends and someone schedules a hearing for Wednesday and we get a ruling by Friday. It may cost you an extra 400 or 500 for expedited filings, another 2 or 3 for expedited service, but expediting judges is simply knowing who to talk to get a speedy hearing. I can lend you money if you need a little more than you have on hand. Money is not the problem. Money is a great tool for managing your life, but knowing when, where, and how to use this tool is a challenge. Look, I run a company that specializes in improving computer programs. I take a computer program, customize it, and add additional features. I understand the work and hire technicians to perform routine tasks. If I didn't know who to hire, how much to pay, and what jobs would be best suited for him, I would be wasting time, money, and resources. Knowing which lawyer to hire, how to use their skills, and what a fair fee is not what I do. I need a guide who understands this particular environment. Well, you just found one. I do charity work, and judges love to be involved in charity work. That's why I know a lot of judges. I studied the question, just waited for the little bastard to give me the opportunity to complete it. I need to navigate my own divorce through the channels. Why not help you and Janet at the same time? Well, I'm sure that our marriage contracts, I mean yours and mine, will go smoothly. I'm not sure about the quality of Janet's lawyer's work. Her lawyer was a solo practitioner and retired. As long as you agree that if one of our cases gets stuck, it won't affect your own. With this understanding, we welcome your help. It's just a shame that Janet or I can't repay you somehow for your help. How about you let me take you to dinner? You and Janet, I mean. We all need to improve our flirting skills, and I can't think of a better partner to practice with than you. You don't mind having dinner with 2 women, do you? I'll think about this for as long as it takes a nanosecond. This sounds like a good idea to me. How about I discuss this with Janet and she will contact you? It sounds good. We can choose a restaurant and solve women's affairs among ourselves. Is there anything you need us to consider? Not really. I usually avoid vegetarian and vegan places, but I can tolerate it if it's something you like. Fine. Have Janet call me, and we can arrange everything. If you stop throwing shit at my asshole when you're done, I'll appreciate it. I'll pack his things and meet him at the door. Knowing him, he would probably try to steal something if I let him do it himself. I will confiscate his credit cards and tell him he is fired at the same time. If I could think of anything else, I would do it. Well, my soon-to-be ex-wife will need to move out, and I need to provide her with temporary housing. It's in the prenuptial agreement. I plan to send her to one of the hotels near the bus station. They usually rent out rooms by the hour, but I think they'll make an exception in her case. Janet will torture her husband a little before kicking him out, but he will probably end up in the same place. You could send Clara to one of those places too. I assume you mean Clarence by that nickname. This means that he managed to anger you, just like everyone else. If you haven't trademarked the name, can I use it too? Please. Oh, Janet calls him Clar Moron. Moron is short for fucking bastard. You can use that too if you want. It's perfect. I'll send Clar the Moron to the same motel. That sounds perfect for him. Why not at the same time? The phone number in the book is listed as Station Hotel. It's a hole, but their number is listed. As soon as you wash it away, he stinks, send him home. He can pick up his luggage when he gets back, and I'll send him on his way. Oh, I have an idea. Do you like to surf and turf? Steak and lobster. I like it. Why? Because if Janet doesn't mind, I have a reservation for the evening at a very nice restaurant. I was going to take Clara the Moron with me, but I'd rather take you too. Let my idiot eat sausages and beans out of a can in his new home. I'll be adding a 3rd guest to my reservation, so tell her it's ready. Oh, tell her to dress nicely. There's a reservation at a country club, and they want to see the ladies in elegant dresses and the men in jackets and ties. I'll pass this along to Janet, and if she agrees, I'll call you back. We are both not members of the club. This is problem. No, you will both be guests of a club member. Let's say approximately 7. If it's inconvenient, I can reschedule. For me, no, but wait a second. Janet just walked into the house. Let me ask her quickly. Janet, do you want to go to the country club for dinner tonight? Beverly wants to meet with the three of us to come up with a coordinated plan for our divorces. She suggested at 7 o'clock. Okay, I'll tell her. You can go back to your torment with the moron. Beverly? Janet nodded and gave me a thumbs up. That means 7 hours is good for her. Fine. Tell her to dress nicely. I'm going to wear the best outfit I have, and I want her to be comfortable. I think dressing to the nines is a must when flirting with a handsome man. I hope I don't make Janet feel uncomfortable. I doubt. She always flirted with me, but I never responded. Married, you understand. The show, Dirty, Stupid, and Dumb, put an end to that, and we started training with each other. To be prepared for life as a single person takes training, and I was a little rusty. I heard giggling from the other end of the line. If what you said before was a sign of rust, I dread to think what you might do when you get better. Wait, let me take that back. I'd love to see this. Just don't try too hard until we get the judge's order. I'm not going to accept courtship until we get preliminary orders, and I may have to wait a week. By the way, which of the 3 clowns is which? Dirty is Lucille, my future ex-wife. Stupid is Bud Miller, Janet's temporary husband and my former neighbor. Dumb is Clar, the moron you're divorcing. I call them 3 clowns because I don't want to draw offensive parallels between our clowns and the real ones. Real clowns were cooler. I like it. I have a whole new arsenal of nicknames for him. Claire, Dumb, Moron, and Clown number 3. I'm sure he won't like it, so I'll use them regularly. According to our prenuptial agreement, I need to pay his rent for a new home and monthly payments throughout the year. I think I'll continue to rent him a room at the station hotel and make payments in his name. Claire Worthington. It's a small revenge, but I'll take it. Well, I have pictures of him with Silly and Lucy, and pictures of all 3 of them naked and covered in dog shit. Will they help? Now she was laughing. I will make sure that they become part of our files as proof of infidelity. Since the judge who will hear our case is my friend, I will mention that I would not mind if the photographs were publicly displayed in court. Someone will probably publish them somewhere in the public domain because Claire is not particularly popular among my friends. He's an arrogant little jerk and doesn't hide it from those he considers low class. That's what I'll do. By the way, it seems to me that a threesome is not how someone starts their infidelity. We, Janet and I, had better get tested for the diseases to make sure they haven't passed anything on to us. Damn, you're right. I told the bailiffs in court and some police officers I know that I was ready to pay well for a photograph of Clara at the moment of betrayal. Well, Clara is a nasty little asshole, and I believed that he would push the professional away, no matter how much he paid, and she would rat him out. Instead, he went to an amateur woman of easy virtue. I had to explain this to Janet, but I'll repeat it for you. A woman of easy virtue has sex for money. The appropriate term for my future ex-wife is cheap. Prostitutes have sex as part of a business transaction and have some standards, but they are not cheap. They give it away for free. You show a certain erudition in your differences. Were you a policeman? No, I was at 5 when I left the Navy. This is an information systems technician with the rank of Sergeant Major of the 2nd article. This is one of the intellectual specialties, but no enlisted ranks in the Navy are gentlemanly. You are very young to have time to make a career in the Navy. Did you get injured or something like that to get out early? No, I received the rank of at 3 during my training. It took me another year and a half to become at 4, and only shortly before the end of the first contract did I become at 5. This is 4 years. I think they gave me the last promotion to try to convince me to stay in the Navy, but I refused. They offered another promotion to Senior Sergeant Major if I extended my contract, but I didn't agree. The Navy provided good training, and between the courses I took online and Navy course credits, I earned a bachelor's degree in computer science within just a year of leaving. Not bad for a 24-year-old, bachelor's degree and 4 years of practical experience. I worked for several companies before starting my own, and now I am 31 years old and have my own company. Oh, I also got my master's degree while starting my company. A lot of people who work in computers just want a job, but I wanted to run my own business, and that's it. Everything went quite smoothly, except for noticeable short-sightedness in choosing a wife. I guess you can't be smart about everything. I wonder how you could be 31 with 6 or 7 years of post-secondary education and a few more years of work experience. You must be at least over 40, but you combine work and study. This is impressive. I know a few people who started their own companies, but they were all in their 40s when they started. How did you manage to do this at such a young age? I was being cunning. Started a computer consulting business when I was in my junior year of high school and worked 40 hours a week even while in school. I worked all through school, then 4 years in the Navy, then 1 year when I got my bachelor's degree, then worked for various companies again for 3 years while doing side jobs, and then started working full-time for my company for the next 4 years. Basically, I've been working full-time since I was 15, except for the first year after getting out of the Navy. Still impressive. Bill Gates didn't start Microsoft until he was 20. You did it 5 years earlier. Yes, but he did it better. My fortune is about $1.5 to $2 million. His is 90 billion, and he also donated 20 billion to his employees and charities. Anyone worth over $1 million before age 35 is doing very well. You have built something very good for yourself. I hope your prenup allows you to keep it. Our lawyer is quite good, and he assures me that this will happen. I registered a company when I was 18, and most of my assets are within the corporation. In addition, the wording of the prenuptial agreement is very specific. My corporation is not community property, and the most I have to pay is $20,000 a year for each year of our marriage. I think she was looking at a lot more years to get a lot more money. She probably expected to receive half of our investment, the house and her car too. She never learned that all the investments, houses and cars belong to the corporation, and we are just renters. We were only married 18 months, so even if the judge gives her a full year, I only owe $40,000. I can handle it. I knew you were smart. Although your stupid wife seems to only use her brain to keep her ears from meeting, you need to keep everything in order so that your divorce goes smoothly and quickly. After all, if you're going to be my flirting partner, we can't let things get messy. By the way, I don't mind if Janet is another flirting partner. I think it will be fun to share with you, and I think it will piss off Clara and Janet's husband, whatever his name is. Bad. This is not an abbreviation, that's what his parents called him. This will make them a little angry, thinking I'm dating their ex-wives. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. We were only talking about flirting. Well, dating is just regular flirting, and I don't mind. Dating you, I mean, it should just be dinners and maybe dancing. I don't want to give Clara the opportunity to challenge the contract and try to void it, so everything needs to be out in the open. I think it will be fun and also make Clara angry. I'm not jealous. I don't mind if you date Janet if she wants. I think she will want to. Even if it's just to piss off dumb, stupid, and dirty, Janet will agree to practice dates. No doubt. Clara won't like it either. You are younger than him, smarter, more attractive, richer, and generally the best match. Do you like swimming? I have a pool, and we could have a pool party and invite all my friends to introduce them to you and Janet. This way I can piss off all my friends because I got rid of the idiot and found a handsome man. One is so good that he has 2 women and can handle both of them. I'm swimming, and I think it's a good idea. Let's talk about it over dinner and make a plan, okay? That sounds perfect. I'll see you and Janet at 7, and we'll discuss everything. Great. Oh, Janet brings dirty, and I'm sure she's whining and complaining about something. She looks like that. Gotta go. See you at 7. Goodbye, beauty. You too, handsome. Until 7. Bye. I ended the call just in time. Filthy, formerly known as Lucy or Lucille, Entered the house under the supervision of Janet. Crap, the bitch was crying. Why should she cry? All I did was interrupt her planned fun. She ruined our marriage. Jace, honey, I'm sorry. I did not want. I interrupted her before she could continue. Don't try to tell me that you walked into our bedroom, found two guys there, and just randomly walked into them. I'm not going to believe it, so don't even start. Remember that prenuptial agreement that you thought was stupid because we would be together always and forever. Now, that's not true. I'm filing for divorce on Monday. You will receive what is provided for in the contract, rent for 6 months and $20,000. If you don't cause problems, I'll give you a full year, which will be $40,000, and give you your car. Now pack your things and get out of here. If you hurry, Clark can take you to the station motel, but if you waste time, you'll have to call a taxi. But, I'm not in the mood to listen to your excuses. Shut up and get out, or I will use your clothes just like you peed on our marriage. She seemed to be starting to realize that I was serious. She quickly packed her things and managed, while Clara was still outside, to whine about how it's not fair. What's fair about sleeping with someone else's wife in his own bed? The little idiot had no idea how the world worked. There was an old TV show where the guy with a parrot used the phrase, "Don't commit a crime unless you're willing to go to jail for it." After the moron's car drove away with Dirty, Janet returned from her house. Well, Stupid is convinced that he has a chance to save our relationship if he does everything I say. Now he is shaving his mustache, and then he will have to shave all the hair on his body. Remind me never to make you angry. You can be really cruel when you're angry. I think he got off easy. I have more important things to do. There is a very attractive man I know who just left his wife for cheating, and I talked him into agreeing to a practice flirtation. I'll let him think that's all I'm planning, but what I'm really planning on is dating him and getting him to make love to me. This will remain my secret for now, so don't tell anyone, okay? I won't say a word so as not to interfere with your plans. However, you may have to hurry up with these plans. I heard that newly minted bachelors always have hot redheads and blondes chasing them. Yes, I heard about it. I'll have to really make an effort. I can always find a hot blonde to work with and try to seduce him together. You just have to go slow so you don't scare the guy off. I don't see any reason why this plan won't work, other than it might take time to find the blonde. By the way, Beverly has a similar idea. You could discuss it with her and maybe collaborate. She's a hot blonde, and you're a slightly hotter redhead. Janet pouted and said, "Just a little hotter." Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 10, and she's a 9 3/4. Hard to say. If I didn't have a soft spot for redheads with freckles, I'd rate you both a 10. What time do we meet for dinner with her? I suddenly had a desire to get to know her better and find out if we were truly compatible. At 7 o'clock. She said that clothes should be smart since it was a country club. She said I could wear a sports jacket, but I was going to wear my new Armani. If you both dress smartly, I will try to match you. You do so. I'm sure Beverly will appreciate a handsome man. I know I will. Are we driving one car or two? I would choose one. There is no point in forcing the valet to park 2 cars. I'll offer you a temptation. We can take the Corvette. What do you think of the idea? A hot redhead and a nice guy in a classic convertible. Sounds delicious. I have several conditions. We drive with the top down on the way there so my hair doesn't get frizzy. You dance with me after dinner, and then we drive with the top down for the long drive home. By the way, I would say, a handsome guy with an attractive redhead. What do you prefer, tights or stockings with garters? It depends on the situation. Tights are more modest and go well with a business suit or in public places. I like stockings, but most women only wear them when they want to look super sexy. Both options are good, but it depends on what effect you want to achieve. Thank you, sir. I think I'll go with sexy. Would you like to bet Beverly would do the same? I bet I look so stupid. An attractive woman preparing to meet another woman for the first time will always choose stockings. Definitely, the stockings will probably be self-supporting, but most likely not. She will also choose heels that will be dangerous for her nose due to their height. It's important to make a good first impression. Fine. This is how I like to dress. Smart and a little sexy on the outside, but a little sassy on the inside. I can still dance in heels, which is good. I need that extra height when I'm dancing with a tall, handsome man. I'm not that tall. 6'1" is a little taller than average. When the man being replaced is 5'8", that's tall. If I wore my 15-centimeter heels, I was 1 inch taller than him. This made him uncomfortable at dances with me, so he didn't dance unless I wore flat or low heels, and I love high heels. How tall is Beverly? I do not know for sure. When I danced with her at a few charity events, she was a couple of inches shorter than me in heels. I'm not sure how much was due to the heels, but they made her legs even more beautiful. I know that she complained about Clara. He was shorter and did not want to dance with her. This did not stop him from dancing with taller women other than his wife. Janet giggled and said, "It's not a mystery, it's standard short stature syndrome. The long-legged girls he dates say, 'Look who I found,' but they want shorter wives so they can feel like a big man. I think both Bud and Claire decided that they could cope with the extra height if it brought financial benefits. Bud moved out of his apartment and into my house, and I bought him a new pickup truck. I guess in her case, because she had the money, she allowed him to play the role of boss at work and everything. I suppose it was. One day at a party, I had to listen to him talk about his business. An accounting firm is different from a computer company, but even I knew he didn't understand 90% of what he was saying. I guess he thought repetition and volume forced him to sound competent. This is wrong. It just made him look like a vain, insecure little jerk with delusions of grandeur. She giggled again and said, "Delusions of grandeur, I like it." Bud was the same. He always had an opinion on any issue, but it was usually clear that he did not understand anything. It's like the old saying, if you can't dazzle them with brilliant knowledge, dazzle them with nonsense. The problem is that he tried to do this all the time and on every occasion instead of exaggerating only on issues that he really understood. Yes, he once tried to tell me all about computers. He was wrong about almost everything, but I didn't tell anyone about it. This would be a problem if he was giving advice to people who trusted him. This could have caused problems, but most people knew he was an empty talker and didn't accept him seriously. This is another part of short stature syndrome. They don't think they look important, so they try to sound important. I don't know why they do this. Look at Tom Cruise, Al Pacino, and Emilio Estevez. Go back in time and remember Alan Ladd and Audrey Murphy. They're all movie stars with a ton of romantic roles. Nobody thinks that Woody Allen, Martin Scorsese, Michael J. Fox, Richard Dreyfuss, Joe Pesci, and Dustin Hoffman are small in their business because of their growth. You can't convince someone who has a feeling of inferiority inside. You seem to have studied the short actors well. Scorsese is not an actor, he is a director, but they are all Hollywood celebrities. Hollywood stars are the only celebrities Bud knows about, so I used them in conversations when he started to worry about his height. It rarely worked, but I tried. You left Charlie Chaplin and Mickey Rooney off your golden age list, and Bog can be mentioned as worthy of the honor. He was only 5'7", but hit it well. If it was his idea and not the studio's, it would free him from being seen as someone who was bothered by his small stature. However, he showed that you can be successful with women even if you are short. Lauren Bacall was about 5'10" and wore heels higher. She was not bothered by her husband's short stature. If he could get a beauty like Bacall despite his height, it would prove that being short is not a disadvantage. I'm going to skip ahead. We had dinner, Janet and Beverly liked each other, and I found myself in a quandary. I couldn't decide which of them was more beautiful. It was clear that both wanted to take the relationship further, but they were willing to wait until the divorces were at least pre-approved. Perhaps my intuitions were wrong, but I doubt it. I'm usually good at these things, except for the experience with Dirty. It's funny that there was no jealousy. Both seemed okay with the idea of both sharing me. If you think I objected, check to see if your brain is leaking, because there's clearly a couple of quarts missing. Dinner passed fine. The country club served great surf and turf, so we opted for all of that. After dinner, the music started and we danced. First, I danced with Janet, then with Beverly, then they repeated. At the end of the third cycle, I was surprised. Her name was Sharon, her husband didn't dance, and she got permission from Janet and Beverly to borrow me. I think dance lessons have gathered. A few more cycles with my main one's partners dancing, and the surprise was repeated. This time her name was Louise, and everything was exactly the same. In order not to drag out the story, I will say that we danced until midnight, and I was borrowed 6 times. I did ask Bev and Jan what was going on. It turns out that many of the wives who attend these dinner dances have husbands who either don't dance or are content with less dancing than their wives. Beverly made sure none of the husbands objected, and everyone knew I wasn't an adventurer. It turns out that at least 4 of my dance partners were married to current judges, and the fact that I was polite and did not cross the boundaries of decency played into my hands. I had no influence of my own, but those judges were more than willing to consider my divorce as favorably as Beverly's. I think our divorce filings set a new speed record. Bob, my lawyer, has already prepared documents for me and Beverly. It took him about 5 minutes to read Janet's prenuptial agreement and then draft her application, using mine as a template since he already had it on his computer. Once it has been adapted to her situations, her application was ready. He included copies of our photographs and evidence and made copies for his files. His assistant certified the originals and sent them to the court. Total time 45 minutes. All 3 of us skipped breakfast and took coffee and croissants. Not the ones used in fast foods as part of breakfasts, but the real thing. The place where we got coffee also had very tasty pastries. After visiting the lawyer, we went to brunch and were still there when I got the phone call. The judge approved the statements and they were served by the bailiff. Provided the applications were served quickly, another judge was ready to issue a preliminary decree of divorce the next morning. Not all divorces go so quickly. This was a special case. Apparently, the judges whose wives were at the dinner dance were also hearing divorce cases. What a coincidence. Some of those wives were also divorced due to their husbands' infidelities, and Beverly mobilized the cavalry to expedite our cases. It might have been a little dodgy, but it was legal and it worked. By 11 o'clock on Tuesday, we were almost divorced. It was only a preliminary decree and the 3 clowns could challenge it, but they had little chance of success thanks to well-written prenuptial agreements and no children. In 3 to 6 months, our divorces will be final. Janet's first divorce took over a year. True, they argued over the house, which was jointly owned, but this was not the main delaying factor. Her first husband, Bud, was her second asshole, argued about everything, and they never agreed. Who's fighting over custody of the goldfish. Then he insisted on counseling to save the marriage. Janet thinks he created obstacles to force her pay to settle everything. Therefore, she had a carefully written marriage contract this time. There was no challenge. I think their lawyers told them the terms offered were the best they could get. 3 weeks later, we had their agreement signed, and there was only a legal wait to be made before the final ruling was made, so a mini celebration was planned. Janet and I were invited to Beverly's house and were told to bring our swimsuits. I prefer swimsuit-type Speedo, which is used by professional swimmers. It is quite comfortable and dries quickly. Wrap it in a towel, unscrew the roll, and it is almost dry. Hang it on the hook, and it will quickly dry out. The girls didn't care about convenience, they had a kind of competition. Who can carry the tiniest micro bikini? Imagine a wet t-shirt contest and add a bunch of steroids. 3 tiny triangles of silk held together by threads perfectly describe their bikinis. When these girls compete, they really compete. Not that I'm complaining, I love watching girls in bikinis just the same, like the next guy. So here I am, by the pool with a gorgeous redhead and an equally gorgeous blonde in a micro bikini. Who said divorce has to be unpleasant? Not me. Then came the words that literature has taught men to hate. Janet said, "Honey, we need to talk." "Okay, I have no problem talking. What did you want to talk about?" Beverly took the lead as if Janet were the quarterback and she was the runner who was handed the ball. "Well, we wanted to talk about the training stuff we were doing. We started with practice flirting, moved on to practice dancing, and recently practiced dating. We were wondering if we could take the training part out of the name because we wanted to try it for real. To be honest, I thought about it, but I always came back to the same problem. I spent almost all my time with you two and was not looking for a partner. If one of you has found someone special, I'll step back. Have any of you found anyone?" They giggled. Yes, both. In unison. I like girls who giggle, but giggling in unison was a little weird. Then it got even weirder. Janet said, "We found both, and the one we found is you. We talked and found out that we were both really interested in you. I almost got into a fight with Beverly over this because I'm interested in you too. But we didn't fight, we got drunk. Somewhere between the third and fourth bottle of wine, we decided that you were the best man we'd ever met, and we didn't think we could find anyone better even if we kept looking. So the conclusion was obvious. We need to convince you that you need two lovers. What do you think about our idea?" "What do you think I said? Do you think I'm a fool?" "Don't answer that. Marrying dirty gave me undeniable, stupid credentials, but now I was a former idiot. Of course I said yes. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one. Click to the next one. Click to the next one.